Hi and welcome, Yuterian here with a visual guide on Sartauvoir, the Inferno, one of the 3 available 1v1s of the Bozja Southern Front, brought to us by patch 5.35. Getting into this fight requires you to take no additional damage by avoidable AoEs in the critical engagement Metal Fox Chaos, which is at the northern left side of the map. If you succeed in dodging all the AoEs, you'll be invited to try and duel Sartauvoir. A fair warning, only one person will be chosen at random, so it might take some time to actually take on this fiery black mage. Hence why I decided to make this video to higher your chance of actually defeating Sartauvoir in 1v1 on your first try, after you have finally been blessed by RNGesus. To bring this fight to a good end, there are some preparations in order. First, Lost Actions. You will either have to bring Lost Manual, acquired from Forgotten Fragments of Caution, or get into the fight as a tank and use proper tank cooldowns to avoid an incident mechanic at a certain point in the fight. I, however, for the sake of this guide, assume you went for the Lost Manual action. For the second slot, I would highly recommend you to take the Lost Swift, acquired from Forgotten Fragments of Ingenuity. As some of the mechanics happen dangerously fast after each other, having Swift will give you that much needed breathing room. As forgotten items, I recommend you to take at least 3 resistance medikits to instantly remove the bosses by a forecast. This can also be done by a Suna, but you'll have to act fast as each dot tick seems to eat about 80% of your HP. Re-razors and other potions are optional but very much recommended. Lastly, do not forget to activate an Essence or Deep Essence to boost your damage for this duel, as these fights do have a hardened rage. One last pointer, as the fight allows you to go in without the loss of already accumulated job gauge progress, it might be a good idea to charge them. As you can see, I started the fight with 1 blood lily and 3 normal lilies already charged, just to dish out that extra DPS at the start. During this encounter, the boss will periodically change between tornado and human form, each with its own set of unique mechanics. Sartauvoir starts in his human form. The first mechanic of this fight is Meltdown, a small placeable AoE that will keep exploding for a short duration after being placed. As this mechanic does not have the usual AoE indicator, it's helpful to look at the boss's cast bar and pre-move to minimize the amount of damage you receive. Next up, the boss will use Time Eruption, 4 square AoEs that each resemble a clock. 2 of said AoEs will have a fast moving clock hand, while the other 2 slow moving clock hands. The ones with the fast moving clock hands will explode first. To avoid all 4 AoEs, placing yourself in one of the 2 slow moving hand AoEs will allow you to dodge the 2 faster ones, after which you dodge out of the slower Time Eruption. This mechanic is directly followed by a Thermal Gust, a line AoE originating from the boss. Phoenix will spawn Phoenix birds at the side of the arena that, after charging for a bit, will dash to the other side of the arena. Getting hit by any of the birds will knock you into the death wall and instantly end the fight. To easily explain this mechanic, let's split up the arena in 4, and let's take the boss out of the equation. The Phoenix will spawn in 2 sets. The first set, existing of 2 lines of 3 birds that will be crossing each other. These will spawn a little bit earlier than the second set, so keeping your eyes open and correctly identifying which set spawned first will be crucial in avoiding this mechanic. As shown in the beautiful paint skills, the first set will only leave 1/4 of the map as a safe zone. Directly after the first set of birds have flown over, the second set, which consists of only 1 line of 3 birds, will be dive bombing the current safe zone. A few steps in the correct direction will be all that's needed to dodge these birds and get on to the next mechanic. 1 more Meltdown, which will be handled as the first one, after which the boss will cast Pyrolatry, indicating the start of the first tornado phase. The first mechanic of the phase will be the small flash overcast of Sartauvoir, indicating the tornado is getting ready for a giant AoE that will only leave the corners of the map as a safe zone. This AoE does however take some time to be fully cast and will be overlapping with the upcoming mechanics. The boss will then cast Flaming Rain. Flaming Rain will 3 times consecutively spawn 3 randomly placed AoEs around the player. As said earlier, this mechanic will overlap with the flashover from the tornado. As this moment can be pretty hectic, using the lost action Swift might help you to be fast enough to dodge all the AoEs the boss is throwing at you. Placing the first Flaming Rain close to a corner will give you enough time to run into said corner to dodge the flashover from the tornado. Directly after the flashover has gone off, bolt out of the second set of the Flaming Rains. The third set should be easy to deal with. While you were busy dodging AoEs, the boss sneakily cast Backdraft. This indicates that the tornado now also will be casting Backdraft. Once that cast is complete, the tornado will knock you back. To avoid getting knocked into the wall, place yourself close to the tornado and make sure getting pushed to one of the corners. Directly before the knockback, the boss will start using a Thermal Wave, a giant conal AoE. As Thermal Wave stays in unsafe zone for a short period after it has gone off, make sure the boss is facing in such a manner that the first Thermal Wave does not overlap the corner you want to get knocked back into. After getting knocked, the boss will target you 2 more times for Thermal Waves. Dodge away from the first Thermal Wave and don't enter any of the other cleave zones until the fire has subsided. The boss will then either cast a quick Backdraft or Flashover. This will again set off the tornado to start preparing for said cast. This mechanic will overlap with the upcoming Pillar of Flame cast from the boss. Pillar of Flame spawns 4 AoEs. 1 will spawn directly underneath the player, while 3 others spawn in the corners, making only 1 corner safe for Backdraft or Flashover. If the boss casts a Flashover, the player moves into the safe corner directly after the 4 Pillars of Flame have spawned. If the cast was Backdraft, position yourself to get knocked back into said safe corner. One more Flaming Rain, this time combined with Thermal Waves, after which Sartauvoir will complain about using too much ether, jump back into the tornado, announcing the end of the first tornado phase. Going into the second human phase, instantly use your resistance medikit, as Sartauvoir will be casting Bio 4. This gives you a shield, which will instantly remove the Bio 4 cast. You can, as soon as this, I would recommend you to use a medikit, to not lose 80% of your HP directly when the Bio 4 touches you. 3 meltdowns, which again pre-moving will allow you to minimize the damage you get from these AoEs, followed by another easy to dodge Thermal Gust. Up next, the big mechanic Phoenix. These Phoenix have a slightly different spawn than the first Phoenix cast we've seen. The first set of Phoenix will be a line of 6 birds that will hit the entire area, leaving no safe zone to dodge them. Though this does not seem avoidable, luckily for us the boss will also use time eruptions, which just as before spawns 2 fast clocks and 2 slow clocks. This is where our lost mana wall comes into play. As this lost action reduces damage by 90%, we can survive a time eruption. We will want to get hit by the fast eruption to fly up into the sky and dodge the entire first set of birds. To determine which of these 2 fast time eruptions we want, we will ignore the first set of Phoenix, and solely look at the second set of Phoenix that exists of a single set of 3 birds, making only half the arena safe. Go stand in the fast time eruption that is in the half of the arena that will not get hit by the second set of birds, pop mana wall, and enjoy your flight with mana wall airlines. After you land, dodge another Thermal Gust and make sure to not run into the second set of birds. Another Pyroelectric cast, indicating the end of the second human phase. Reaching this point, you have seen all the mechanics the boss has to offer. The rest of the fight, the boss will be looping between tornado and human phases. The loop goes as followed: Flaming Rain plus 3 Thermal Waves, Pillar of Flames with either Backdraft or Flashover, directly followed by another 3 Thermal Waves, a change to the human phase, going into time eruptions with a Thermal Gust, another Bio 4, don't forget your medikit, 3 meltdowns with another thermal gust line AoE. Phoenix, that will be handled like the first Phoenix cast at the start of the fight. Yet another thermal gust. And that's it, a cast in Pyrolet 3 will bring us back to the start of the loop phase. This brings us to the end of the visual guide that I hope was helpful. As it was my very first guide ever, I hope my explanations were sufficient enough to help you get the achievement Burn Baby Burn and acquire the title The Death of Flame. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below, and that leaves me with wishing you a wonderful day, happy fighting, and a thank you for watching. Bye!